The Xbox Activision acquisition just took a major step forward. When it comes to Xbox buying Activision, there's three little letters that are pretty much holding it back, and it's the CMA. And today, the CMA is coming out and saying, you know what, Microsoft, we're probably going to rubber stamp this thing, and you're going to be able to buy the company. Well, Activision Blizzard, the entire gaming studio, and everything and beyond, as long as you agree to the terms that you propose to us, which, if you remember, Microsoft said, hey, look, we're going to move some of our stuff over to Ubisoft, and hopefully that will make everybody happy, especially when it comes to cloud streaming. And so the CMA has come out and officially said, yeah, actually, you know what? That seems like a pretty logical thing. So let's dive into the real details here. The UK's Competition and Market Authority shared the preliminary approval. Keep in mind, this is a preliminary approval to purchase Activision Blizzard. So again, it's not the final, absolute, complete rubber stamp, but a preliminary ruling like this pretty much seems like, yeah, as long as like there isn't something sketchy going on with your agreement, we're probably going to be approving this. The decision came after, obviously, Microsoft said, look, we restructured the deal and we're going to sell our cloud streaming stuff, our rights to Activision Blizzard titles over to Ubisoft. And the UK was like, you know what? All right, we will buy into that. Now, this isn't the final rubber stamp of approval. Like I've said, that decision will happen before October 18th. Meaning, what does that mean? Microsoft will hit their deadlines to close the deal, because I believe it's October 18th might be when Activision Blizzard does their reporting on their earnings. So getting it done before that, there's a lot of financial incentive, right? Microsoft has to pay some fines and other things or breakup fees. It's going to happen before then. So this is a massive step. I can't get over the fact that this is a massive step forward. One that we have been waiting for. I actually thought it was going to happen next week, but look, here we are. It is happening today. So just keep all that in mind here. So according to the document, it says the sale of Activision's cloud gaming rights to Ubisoft substantially addresses previous concerns and opens the door to the deal being cleared, said the CMA. They said today's decision is not an approval of the deal. The CMA is, however, content with Microsoft's proposed changes. The agency will now have a consultation until October 6th of 2023 to discuss the proposed remedies provided by Microsoft. A final decision is expected before October 18th of 2023, effectively meaning that, hey, if you've got complaints, if you are one of the Sonys of the world, the Google Stadias of the world, you still have time to bring up and raise your concerns. But whatever, it looks like it's going to go. And it effectively says that while the CMA has identified residual concerns with the new deal, Microsoft has put forward remedies that the CMA has provisionally concluded should address these issues. And so, of course, Brad Smith, who I will remind you is not Brad Sams, that is me, Brad Smith is the chief legal counsel, says we are encouraged by this positive development in the CMA's review process. We presented solutions that we believe fully address the CMA's remaining concerns, key wording there, related to cloud game streaming, and we will continue to work toward earning approval prior to the October 18th deadline, said Microsoft's Brad Smith. So keep that in mind. Now, there's a lot of things happening. Everyone's going to be asking, well, if they close by October 18th and the next Call of Duty comes out in November, does that mean, no, you can shut that down right now, my friends. It will close on the 18th. There is going to be a lot of stuff. Microsoft is not going to immediately walk in, especially because they can do this. If they closed back when they wanted to, maybe in July, it would have been a little bit more awkward. But the fact that they're likely going to close probably the 17th would be my guess, somewhere around that date. My guess would be that there's no way Call of Duty, the next version, is going to happen in Game Pass. That would be the key thing, right? I'm not saying it might not happen eventually, but on day one, I would be shocked, because Microsoft knows, and so does Call of Duty, and so does Activision, and so does the rest of the universe knows, that the first day of Call of Duty's availability is like $1 billion day, is like a truly $1 billion day for the whole gaming studio. And so Microsoft's not going to immediately be like, the first thing we're going to do is undercut some of our revenue while trying to jack up those Game Pass subscriptions. So this is such a big step, and one that Microsoft has been waiting for. And honestly, they have put together so much, like such a good deal, honestly, for Ubisoft and for the CMA, that I think the CMA is probably happy, right? Granted, everyone's like, why aren't they steamrolling the CMA? They should just be steamrolling them. Well, that little agency, regardless of your feelings about it, got some meaningful change for the industry. Now, the other key question here is what's actually going to happen in the EU. Let's not forget that the EU catching wind of what is going on with Ubisoft, and catching wind makes it sound like they didn't know, like they would ever hear this. But I mean, they're absolutely looking at it like saying, well, maybe this should apply to the EU. It very well might. However, that should not slow down the actual acquisition process. The EU might say, look, we're going to open things back up and we're going to look at it again, but they already have that approval going the other route. And so there's a non-zero chance, if you will, that the EU might just say, you know what, do the Ubisoft for here as well and something else. We don't quite know. That is the one sort of gotcha. The FTC is still trying to fight it out a little bit, I believe, in the US, but again, it looks like that is going to fall away as well. And so at this point, really the only thing holding back the acquisition of the largest gaming acquisition, I think ever, and one of the largest acquisitions in Microsoft's history. I think it is Microsoft's history. I think it's like the second or third largest acquisition ever, is really just time, right? We have the dates in stone now up to October 6th. So sometime between October 6th and the 18th is when it will happen. I've got a vacation in that time period, so it'll probably happen while I'm on vacation is how these things tend to happen. But I would expect that it will be sometime around the 18th would make the most sense to get that all done. And then Microsoft can send over that massive wire wire over to Activision, and then it's all done. And then keep in mind, we'll find out what happens to Bobby Kotick, right? There was a lot of drama leading up to this, and while he is expected to make the transition, there's also a lot of expectation that once that does happen, he will be out at the company. Again, time will really tell. Microsoft is, especially thanks to all the leaked documents, we know that Microsoft is under significant pressure, and by Microsoft I mean Phil Spencer, to grow Game Pass. So all those titles will eventually get into Game Pass would be my expectation. It takes time. It's not a magical, you just drag the .exe file over into Game Pass and then it magically works. They have to actually prep these games, get them validated and tested. But I would believe, if all holds true and this does close, that 2024 could be the best year ever, or it should be realistically the best year ever for Game Pass, just from content flowing in, right? There's a massive back catalog of Activision stuff, and Blizzard for that matter, that can be pulled in, and so Microsoft should have tons of marketing moments, as we like to refer to them, that just draws people in. So that's the big news. I mean, it's been a long time coming. I think everybody's waiting for that final rubber stamp of approval. But with the CMA's ruling out today, it looks like the things are winding down. We're at the very tail end. Light is at the end of the tunnel, and in the very near future, Microsoft's gaming studios will explode from just adding more content. And so there you go. As always, my friends, make sure to keep it subscribed here, because the only BS on this channel is me.